We're back again. I know. The double us. I'm so sorry you have to part with this again so quickly.
I swear it's the same day. It just seems like it. I mean,
yeah. What is
it? Trevor was saying off camera that I had some coffee. See some coffee.
And he's Trickway mug, which I'm going to have to get out every time. I think just remind me, Gray.
You actually said coffee pretty good, considering you're Scottish. I mean,
what, of course, is that a disability? Is it what the?
No. But if you do the whole thing, you got to go like, I'm going to go walk the dog and drink my coffee at the same time.
Yeah, that's asking too much. My bagel and my coffee. Right, yeah. So as we said last episode, we were just going to film them back to back because we're a few days late for various reasons, and we're literally going to the second episode because they did show them at the same time. Season 4, Episode 3 of Star Trek Lower Decks, which with a really cool title. I have no bones, yet I must flee. Interesting.
I'm not sure, but I think they might have named it that way on purpose from an old TOS episode. And the name of that episode, For the World is Hollow and I Have Touched the Sky. And that's the actual whole name of the TOS episode. And this just sounds like it. I have no bones, yet I must flee. I could be totally wrong, but I think whoever came up with the title was thinking of that show.
Well, yeah, hopefully.
It just seems that way.
Well, some of the titles of Star Trek are excellent. Let's not beat around the bush. Some of them are bloody great, and they hit home really, really well. And this is a good title. We also, in this episode, we talk about the Menagerie. There's not an episode of TOS called the Menagerie?
Called the Menagerie.
Yeah, exactly. So there's moments.
It was the only two-parter ever in the original series, and what they did is they took the footage of the cage and re-edited new footage as well into it and called it the Menagerie.
Yeah, so there you go. More Star Trek tropes.
It was really good, actually. I really the way they did it, where they incorporated the older original pilot, and this was quite good.
Yeah, yeah. I knew it rang a bell. But that's why Greg keeps my memory right with episodes like that. Yeah, so we'll kick off then. Actually, no, we'll kick off. The usual call to arms, actually. Get them out of the way, because if we do that then,
it's
turned off. Right, yeah. I'm actually going to mix it around for once. I'm recently back from a gaming festival where me, Gray, and our friend Nick will actually play games, talk about games, review games, whatever, called Extreme PC UK. You can find Nick and I and the guys on Twitch every Thursday night at 9 p.m. BST, and after hours on his Twitch channel as well. If you're a subscriber, you get to watch the videos after. But in all the audio podcasting platforms, if you like listening to your podcast that way, and look for us in our Discord.
And join the Discord.
Yeah,
look at all the cool things that are going on, and of course, scroll down towards the bottom. You'll see
the entertainment channel, which we'll touch about in a moment because that's the one I do with Gray. Yeah, just look for Extreme PC UK for the Discord. Come on there and chat to us there, actually, because we talk about all kinds of things, not just gaming. And Nick's can be found Extreme PC UK on the Twitters. But yeah, Gray's pod, Entertainment Pod, we're kicking that back on again in the next few weeks. And we talk about all things entertainment. And it does have more of a lean on sci-fi, superhero, fantasy type stuff, because that's what we mostly like. But we'll talk about anything entertainment as long as we're interested in it and it's relevant. And Gray can be found at all the same places as I can on the YouTube, on audio podcast platforms, and on the Twitter at Gray's Green Room. So give him a follow as well if you don't mind, please. And we're at the exact same locations at the Trekway as well. So anyway,
and remember, Twitter is now X, which is stupid.
Yeah, but, I don't know if I ever want to call it that.
I don't either, to be honest. It's just dumb. Why he changed it, I just don't understand. It's almost like he changed it on purpose because he figures it'll go down the drain, then he can sell it off or take a tax write-off. I have no idea.
The mindset of a billionaire, no one really truly understands apart from another billionaire, I think, Gray.
I think his problem is that he's one of the what's the word for it? He's the
world's richest man.
He's a genius in one way, and then he does really dumb stuff in another way. It's nothing ever in the middle. He either accomplishes really great stuff or he puts his foot in his mouth.
I just want him to do well because of SpaceX. That's all I care about.
I do too, and he is, but
yeah.
You know.
But yeah, maybe we should start up a space SpaceX rocket type show as well. Great. No, there's far too much good competition from that. The guys that we cover often, to be fair, so no, we won't do that. So yeah, this
you could kind of do a Trekway sciencey episode if you wanted to.
Well, yeah, of course. There was a theme. There was an episode, a special idea of what does Star Trek's effect have in modern society. Remember that? That's one we haven't done yet, and that's a big one, which we will do at some point for sure.
Like tricorders, cell phones.
Yeah. Now, what's inspired it? How many people get into space these days are Trekkies. They wouldn't have done it unless Star Trek had been about. So yeah, definitely. If you want to see a special covered in that, let us know. Right, we'll kick off with this episode. Too much waffling from us, but that's what we always do. We start the episode with a Romulan warbird on its side. That's just a bit weird. I've never seen a Romulan warbird on its side, Gray, have you?
I don't know whether it was supposed to be either on its side,
or the camera's at a different angle. But how do we know?
Or the camera's at a different angle, or whether the wings rotate.
No, they don't. I've never seen them rotate ever. That would be cool.
I never have either, but I'm just saying, But it did look a little odd being on the side, like.
Your comeback there should have been, what's its side? It's in space, Trev. What is the side? And then I would have just went.
Space, there's no up, down, or whatever. It's just
exactly, yeah. Without inertial dampeners, there would be no up, down, left, right.
Right, but with television, it would look really weird if you saw like an Enterprise and another upside down ship talking to each other.
That looks like Star Trek mating there, actually. Anyway, or Starship mating, should I say? Right, we'll kick on. I saw it on its side. I thought it was a little bit strange. But then that random ship from the last episode pops up again.
Yep.
There we go. There's a link. That's what we're wanting. We want writing. It makes sense. This made sense here. And it wrecks the warbird. The same attitude from the guys on the warbird as it was in the bird of prey. That, oh yeah, let's take this little insect down. And they get blasted pretty much instantly. That's all we see. It moves straight on. So there's going to be this season-long arc of this bloody ship just turning up and smashing things.
The only thing I'll point out that was kind of funny when the Romulan ship was pulling up on this craft before it actually happened, they were talking about to each other how they're going to backstab each other and take each other's position, and that's all the crew talked about. They were taking pride in it. As a matter of fact, I have been waiting to backstab you for a long time. No, I've been waiting to backstab you even before you wanted to backstab me. And I thought that was pretty funny. That was cute. The only thing I didn't like again is the random ship comes back. The random ship blows the crap out of the warbirds, which are powerful ships.
Yeah.
And we still don't know what's going on, and I still don't feel it's right because it's still not funny.
So give a little bit more before you cut it.
It's too serious for lower decks, and that's twice now that it's too serious. And I'm just kind of like, we just saw the Romulans, cutting it up and being funny, and then they just get blown away, and I'm like,
great.
It just doesn't.
I've got a small bone to pick with you there. The Orville started off hilarious, and it didn't end serious, but it definitely got a lot more serious with little bits of humour in it. So what's wrong with this one doing the same thing but in reverse?
Well, probably. The thing with the Orville was that they couldn't get a grip on how they wanted to do the humor in the first season. You could tell some of it was proper and was funny or made sense. Some of it was just kind of like, what? And then they got their groove on like the second season, the third season. So the humor came in when it should come in.
Yeah.
Which was more like, when you went back to the original Star Trek, people forget there were some really good, funny moments between the top three guys. Kirk, Spock, and McCoy.
Yeah.
There was some classic stuff, and people tend to forget it because they think of everything else the series is about.
Yeah.
And all that was always delivered at the proper time and the proper point. Because because as you got to understood the characters of Trek, it was even more funny to hear some of the remarks. And why was that? Called good writing. And that's how good acting, of course. They had it was really interesting. I digress for a second, but on the original series, when McCoy Leonard DeForest Kelly came on to do McCoy in the first season, he wasn't as he didn't get involved as much in the first season, and he didn't have as many of those quips. Then they finally realized that this is weird. This chemistry is working. And then from the second season and the third season, they made his role bigger, and it worked just by luck because the chemistry was so good between the three of them.
Yeah,
which is difficult, for three people, let alone two people. So that was good. And when you get clicks like that where chemistry is really going, like even in Lower Decks here, you have the characters or actors that play Boimler and what's her name, and they have a chemistry going. There's no doubt about it. You can feel it.
Boimler and Mariner. Sorry, Mariner.
Right. So
they do.
That's important. Well. If you have that kind of I think there was a reason that they picked those.
And that's
two.
more difficult to do, that chemistry, because they're not in the same recording booth. They might not even be there on the same day. So that's even more kudos to them.
It's true. Although most of the time they do try to put them together because it's important for acting off each other. Some of the other ones that only deliver lines here and there, they might deliver them alone. But if there's a chemistry, I bet you they're in the studio together all the time.
I hope so. I hope I'm wrong there. But yeah, so good writing. That's the key.
Yeah.
Give the writers better money, please, so we can end this bloody strike. But we'll end up talking about GGR again. As tempting as it is on our rants about that, but
no, I'm to steer it back to Lower Decks again. The only character that and this is just purely because I like it, I would love to see more of is Tiana, Dr. Cat, because Dr. Cat is funny as hell.
Yeah, but they're not main characters, man.
I know, but the thing with Dr. Tiana, and the thing that gets me PO'd sometimes with them is in some of the episodes, her comedic timing is perfect. They put her in at the right space at the right time to make her comments, usually which are foul mouth comments and stuff, and it's funny as heck. When they don't concentrate on putting her in the right place at the right time to say the right quote, she's not as funny.
Yeah.
But man, when she pops up, it's only for the second or two, and she delivers a line.
The one-liners are perfect.
It's great. Also, I want to ask you a question, Trevor. If you noticed
42.
This. Okay, yeah, that's right. Never mind. No, I'm kidding. The character that I think is not as good as he used to be is Shax.
He was good in the last season. I think it's this first episode started off a bit crap for everyone.
I just think towards the latter half of the last season and now
maybe.
he's more
the good stuff was in the first half. Yeah,
he's more docile because before he was like I'm gonna.
He's under the thumb, man. He's under the thumb of the Tiana. She wears the trousers in the relationship. Clearly.
Yeah, but see that to me that's another missed opportunity. You shouldn't change the character just because of that.
Yeah, true. I'm joking when I say that.
Shax had some really great lines, and all of a sudden I don't even remember Shax making any good lines lately.
Well, let's hope they change that later on in this season. He does have more funny things to say. And great, you can swear in this podcast, just not heavy words. So yeah, you can be pissed off. That's fine. You're allowed to be.
Beep, 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 beep.
I don't have a beep button. Maybe I should invest in one. But anyway, yeah. So you can tell this episode is better for this. There's more content for us to talk about. Yeah. So Mariner overhears Ransom saying negative things about her when he's in the gym, and I'm getting vibes of bloody Deanna Troi and the Doctor, whose mind is just Beverly Crusher, working out, and those weird outfits, those weird futuristic outfits, doing their stretches and whatnot. And you see, is it Shax? Yeah, you see Shax and not Freeman, Ransom working out together, and seeing those two in those outfits is just bloody weird. They're like pulling each other, stretching. Poor Shax is in a bit of pain, and he says some negative things about her. And a little comment. She moans to the Lower Decks that she's overheard this, and she said his brain is the only part of the body he doesn't work out. Which is probably accurate. The guy's always like, "Oh yeah, working out."
All
but
the time.
This is a bit sometimes. So the Lower Deckers are kind of moving out, but without Rutherford this week. It's a continuation from the last episode. That's why we got confused at the end of the last episode. Do you see where they're normally situated in their bunk bed area? The lights all go out, and I'm a tiny bit sad. I'm like, oh, Like, they should all be Harry Kims and never be promoted because they're lower deckers. It feels like the end of an era. Like, did you? I knew it was going to end like that, Gray. But did you feel a bit sad? Did you think this is an end of an era?
I thought that was what they're trying to convey. But prior to that, or just after that, they did make an explanation that kind of helped a little bit. They were going like, oh, we're not going to be lower deckers anymore. And I think it was Mariner said we're only going to be like lieutenant in training,
lieutenant juniors,
and we're only about this far above where we were.
Yeah, they're building the next deck probably.
So I made a comment. I think they're in the upper lower decks now.
Upper lower, he did, yeah, upper lower decks. But
you make a good point, because if they technically from this point they really can't promote them any further, because then they really would be out of the lower decks if they get promoted again.
Yeah, is that a thing? Lieutenant junior grade, it is, isn't it? But they don't use it often, so
no, not that often.
A stop-off place. But yeah, so this whole episode is pretty much Mariner doing whatever she can to get demoted, because she doesn't. She's just not her thing, and we kind of find out more later on as to why. Some of the things she does, including calling Ransom by his first name, Jack. They're going on a little mission, and she's piloting the shuttle, but she pilots it like she's drunk or on drugs or something. She's piloting this absolutely nuts, and she kind of half crashes it as well at the end. She's just, but Ransom's not biting much, and we'll find out maybe again. Well, we do find out again later why.
Later, yeah.
But this part coming up is the funniest part in the whole bloody episode for me, followed by what happens after when it gets brighter. Boyme's new pad, he's moved up. He walks right in, there's nothing there. It's right beside one of the bloody warp nacelles, right? And the lights, he just walks in, he's like, it's so
it's blind,
bright. And I'm thinking, this is genius. No one ever covers this in any other program. Like, what if you're right beside there? Like, if you were right beside it. I had a problem. I stayed right in the centre of Edinburgh, and it was lights outside beside the bank museum thing.
Yeah.
And they were too bright, and I had to tell them, guys, see at maybe 10, 11 p.m, would you turn them off, please? And they did. So now just the street lights, which is okay, but I know he's fake. I know you're paying Boimler. Turn them down. So he walks in.
I thought it was funny because a true kind of cartoon thing. The light was bright red, and you see this beaming red come in through the windows, and he's like, ah! And then he's on the floor, and he hits the floor, and he's looking for what he dropped, and he can't find it because the light's everywhere. It was great. That was hilarious. I was waiting for him to crawl over and see if there's any drapes or something.
Yeah.
He's just like, ah!
Well, we get to that later on the drapes, which is bloody hilarious. You mentioned here, obviously you're amused by the Boimler incident there, but that Mariner had some piloting skills. Did she? She did that on purpose, man.
Well, I mean, she did it on purpose, but she could have destroyed the whole thing. She just came in and started to do like a Tokyo Drift thing or something.
Tokyo Drift.
Like this.
How does one do a Tokyo Drift again, Gray?
The back wheels come out like, whoop.
That's not what you done. That's not what you done a moment ago.
Well, whatever. But the point is, the way she did it was really cool. I'm sitting there going like, oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. In there.
We've had.
I was like, wow.
We've had 4 different versions of a Tokyo Drift from Gray here. This is bonus content, guys. We should be charging bonus. For this. But yes, point taken, Gray. I don't know who makes this comment, but it was Ransom. He asked her to do something lickety-split. And right away, if you're a Red Dwarf fan, you got that comment. And maybe some of the writers are... Did you catch up on that comment, Gray?
Yeah, but I didn't catch it like you did, only because I don't know about over there. But over here, lickety-split is a colloquial term that people throw around once in a while. Not much. It's more of an older, like, going back to the 30s or 40s kind of thing that they used to say.
It's not
so I didn't look at it. Right, I didn't look at it like that, but I could see where you were coming from when you mentioned it. I go like, oh yeah.
It would always be Rimmer when it would go
right
like this.
Yeah.
Lickety split. I love that show. I really love that show.
But actually, if you think now that I think about it, we're correct only in the assumption because Red Dwarf was an old show. I mean, it got newer as time went on.
Yeah.
There you go. And that's when some of this stuff was, happening.
I love Red Dwarf dearly. I hope they don't bring it back because you're going to end up killing it. Just leave it be now. Anyway, so Rutherford is beaten to the punch by another officer when it comes to upgrades for his promotion because he has a conversation with Tindy, right? Mm-hmm. Where he's like, well, I'll just go and get a promotion. How difficult could it be? I just need to invent something pretty cool or fix something and, I'll get a promotion. I can join you guys because he's left out at this stage, technically.
Right.
And this other officer, he's a bit of a jackass, I'm going to use the word. He's got this little cheesy, evil grin every time he does something. Billups uses his idea to make the cells more efficient or whatever, right? And it's bloody hilarious because I'm reading that again. The efficiency means that the cells or the buzzard collectors get even brighter when they do. So Boimler's still in the bloody room. So he's like, no, puts on his sunglasses. He's like, no, stop, I'm melting. See,
I was expecting him to get sunburned or something,
This is the funny shit we're looking for that we didn't get as much in the last episode,
Yeah.
Which is why this episode is slightly less, and we won't give it away, slightly less in score than the last episode. And I think it's just because the Voyager factor made it higher than it should have been. So don't think that this is worse than the last episode. In some ways, it's better, actually. Poor Boimler, I'm saying here, the guy's not getting a break at all. He's wearing sunglasses at this stage. And they're going to this menagerie place, right? Because there's two humans. This menagerie is like a zoo. Think of it like a zoo. Right. And every species is welcomed or taken. And two humans find themselves on board there. And the curator-type guy of the place isn't human. I don't know what species he is, but he kind of says, it's a shame. I like these humans. They were pretty popular, but he understands that they have to be handed back. Kind of sentient.
Yeah, he was even saying that they were making more money for the zoo than ever.
Exactly. Look at those cute humans. So the the coolest character of this whole bloody episode is a character called Moopsey. Now, this was just gold. The name, what it looks like, it looked like a
big white hamster.
Like a hamster or a Pokemon or, something like this. Yeah. And it looked so adorable. You knew it was never going to end like that because all the thing would do is look cute and go, Moopsey. Who wrote this episode, man? They must have been high in some drugs or some shit because it was gold.
I think the people that were writing the particular
did not write the last episode.
Moopsey, probably, but I think where they took some of Moopsey from is some of the old Warner Brothers cartoons used to do stuff like this with some of the characters, where you see some innocent character and you're thinking like, oh, isn't he so cute, and they end up turning into a freaking monster or something. Yeah, and I'm sure somebody remembers some of those. The writers remember something like that in the past, and they put it into this character, and it's classic. It's just classic. You just see this little harm. There's no harm. This little creature's so nice. You pat him on the head. He's so cute. And then you see what he's up to after.
Yeah. We do. He is one of the exhibits there, and he escapes. You see him just walk along the corridors saying Moopsey all the time. And it would be such a big deal, Gray, but this is the bit we get to where he isn't as cute and cuddly as we think. The curator's freaking out that he's escaped because he isn't as cute as he is due to the fact that he's editing on the fly as I'm reading the same bloody sentence, Gray. What are you doing to me, man?
Well, because I fix menagerie everywhere except for that one.
So we got the wrong spelling of menagerie. Who cares, man? Whatever. It's not even. Is it even a word in the English dictionary?
Plus, I knew it was going to throw you off, and that was great.
No. Comedy gold. Well done. Moopsey escapes from him.
That's his brother, Moopsey.
Shut up.
We're on a roll now, people.
What have you done to me? See what I have to put up with here. He escapes. Old
Moopsey.
And it wouldn't be such a big deal, but the fact is, he drinks bones. This is a new thing I've never seen here before, ever. He drinks bones, And I'm joking here. Hopefully not the good doctor from TOS. Don't drink that, Bones. But yeah, I didn't know this was possible, but you do see him literally get into one of the opposing or one of the other exhibits and literally just go along, Moopsey, jump on with big fangs and literally drink the bones gone, so it's just a husk. Which sounds like it's drinking everything inside, including all the other stuff. But I guess without bones, you're just a bit of jelly lying on the ground.
Pretty much. I mean, without it, it's just a blob kind of.
You said it was a bit like a Tribble? I guess so, but like OP? OP
yeah,
Tribble?
but the reason why I said that was also a pun to the original TOS episode.
Trouble with
Tribble. So he's kind of a Tribble, but causes trouble.
He's like a Tribble mixed with a gremlin.
Mixed with a hamster, mixed with a... He's a Moopsey. What can we do?
So the guy that keeps shafting Rutherford is Ensign Libick, all right? This guy that's just... You know, the hero guy that's got the big cheesy grin at the end with the gleam coming off his like veneers, that kind of guy.
Yeah.
He keeps trying to beat him to the punch every time for this promotion. He improves the Tucker tubes. Now, Gray, you don't watch Star Trek Enterprise. Commander, I think it was Lieutenant Tucker. He was the chief engineer of the first Warp 5 engine, and I'm guessing that's a Easter egg to him, and quite right. He's trying to improve, Rutherford's trying to improve the efficiency of these Tucker tubes. God knows what they do. I think they just made them up on the fly. But when he comes up to Billups and goes, who's now freshly been converted back to his regular self, he's like, oh, that's great. Yeah, well done. But Livick added a third tube. And he's like, what? Come on, man. Give me a break. And in honour of this, they're now being renamed Livick is renaming them, because he's done this improvement, the Billups tubes. I mean, you don't get much more of a kiss arse than this guy.
It's called brown nosing.
But well, yes, it is called brown nosing. You're right. Yeah, we could say worse things than that. So that was amusing. Boymes goes to his new quarters because he does ask for a transfer this time away from the bloody sauna that is the
blinding light
Arc collectors. And he hears oh, this is hilarious. This bit, man. This
was good, yeah.
This is gold. Yeah. His new quarters have nothing in it. He's trying to move things about. He hears Shax and Tiana's hologram, dating hologram program that they have. And there's nothing too over the top here, but it's just like, oh yeah, take that. And yeah, you like a bit of pain, and random comments like that, you know. And I'm thinking, poor Boymes, he can't catch a break here. He's hearing all the kinky stuff going on next door. And I've always thought, what's the other side of the holodeck? This is Lower Decks talks about the things that they can never talk about in Series Trek. That's what it's called. So
Boymes even goes. He goes, well, how did they stick a room between two holodecks? Who does that?
yeah. Good point. Great. It is in between two holodecks. So the other holodeck is Freeman's program, and there's nothing too outlandishly there. Like, she's just a normal program, but he's trying to move his bed between both. I don't see that makes no bloody difference wherever you put your bed. But anyway, he moves his bed between the two to try and find the right place. He can. Gray's saying here, poor Boymes can't catch a break, but he is Boimler. He's not really supposed to catch a break, is he?
Not always.
This is it. Jack Ransom tells Mariner that he knows what she's like when they have a little heart-to-heart catch-up, and that he will not demote her. He sees what she's trying to do. He will not demote her. He has read through her file. The fact that she's been offered multiple promotions, Gray, and all of her all our commanding officers in the past have gave in and demoted her. But he's not going to do this because it looks bad for him with, I guess, his captain, Freeman. So yeah, he's not playing ball here. And then back to the menagerie. Bye-bye menagerie as Moopsey gets him. Moopsey gets the creator of the zoo. He's gone. He's bye-bye. Which I found amusing because I didn't like him very much.
So did I, because like you mentioned it, I don't remember him having any bones. He's a plant
because
creature.
That's right, yeah. But he still manages to do it.
What the hell was he sucking out of him?
Someone mentioned that though. He's like, he doesn't have bones. Like how he's a plant. He's a plant, right? Because he was a plant character, wasn't he? Like But
Yeah.
this is my point before, Gray, that you take the bones out, should be more left in there. He sucked everything out, literally. So yeah, he's a plant. Yeah, he's been sucked out. So that sounds inappropriate. So we'll move on. I love the scene of the cute little Moopsey sucking the bones out of a much larger raptor-looking creatures. Remember that?
The reason that scene worked so well is because you saw the raptor creatures and they really looked like raptor dinosaur things, and they were big teeth and move. And then the Moopsey guy gets in there and they all start backing off like oh my god, what is this thing doing? And then you see him just go with these giant teeth. His mouth gets really big like cartoon character teeth. And then all of a sudden, and the raptor's a bunch of goo. All right, that was great.
See, more comic moments, man.
Yeah.
But they have a plan to try and trap Moopsey. Of course they do. They trap him in a room, but this room is the control room for the menagerie station because they're in a space station.
Oops.
And they realise that it's too late. Moopsey is walking over all the control panels, not having a clue what he's doing, just going, Moopsey. One word, that's all he says, Moopsey. With so much joy and delight in his voice.
It would have been funnier if Moopsey made a poopsie. That would have been...
Oh, what that could have been the thing. He deorbits the menagerie by taking a dump on the controls.
By doing a poopsie, right.
Yeah.
Much funnier.
He sat in that joke for a while, probably. So Moopsey now is in the process of deorbiting the bloody station as he walks over all the controls. They do have a plan. This was genius. I thought this was really smart, Gray. They have a plan to lure Moopsey out with Ransom's teeth. He has a plan when he sees a tooth randomly sitting about, right? And it likes bones, right? Give it crumbs. So he orders Mariner to punch him. She's like, what? Answer what you're doing here. No, it's not going to work. No, seriously, punch me. Look at this plan. She's like, okay, punches him. Nothing. Now he's like, really punch me. And she knocks a tooth out of him, right? He's like, aha, there we go. I like this plan. Great. I'm assuming you did as well. I thought it was semi-genius, actually, to be honest with you.
I thought it was too, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so what expendable bones do you have? Your teeth. There you go. They're not actually bones. But
exactly.
There you go.
Well, they had the calcium or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So. But we'll let it slide. This tiny. That's fine.
Yeah.
So
cartoon. Remember,
it's an adult cartoon, which makes it sound inappropriate. So it's actually a really good plan.
Well, it's a pre-adult cartoon.
No, it's an adult comedy. People label it as an adult comedy.
Well, now wait a minute. Now,
and if Star Trek adult comedy.
If it was truly an adult comedy, then they would never censor Dr. Cat and just let her say what she would want, and which would be even funnier.
They should. Why did no? I think they do that for comic effect, mate.
No, I think so too. But then I would still let her let loose once in a while, and then it would be really funny because you wouldn't expect it. You don't know when you're gonna either bleep it or not bleep it.
True.
Yeah. But hey, we're not the writers.
We're not the writers because that would be interesting. Yeah, so it's a good plan. I'm thinking here at this stage here that I'm just hoping modern Trek Bedison can sort out his gnashers afterwards. Because just now we can replace teeth with fake ones, but maybe in the future we can replicate brand new teeth or grow them. I don't know.
We know they have skin regenerators, so I would think they'd have something like that.
But teeth, yeah. So they're not actually just fakies. So yeah, he's only got so many teeth. So Ransom's taking one for the team here. Livick finally gets his promotion, Gray. Little shit that he is. But Tindy finds out that Rutherford turned down a bunch of promotions in the past, and she is not happy, is she?
Yeah.
She's not a happy camper.
But he admitted, and he did have a reason, because he wanted to be with his friends, so he kept turning it down all the time.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah. It's the right way to go about it. But yeah, so he did this. We didn't want to get away from her, particularly when they're all friends. And I note here, would those two just get it on already, Gray? What did you comment here after this, Gray? And I want it word for word.
I said, agreed. It's time for some wholesome cartoon sex.
I don't think I've ever seen cartoon sex before.
I mean, they're leading up to it so many times in the last 3 or 4 seasons. I mean, come on.
Well, you've got Tindy and Shax, don't you? So
yeah.
You don't see that. You're not supposed to, but they're getting on. So why the hell not?
Right.
They're more than friends, man. 100%.
Yeah, no doubt.
But Rutherford does get his promotion. That was going to Livick, literally just as the half pip's getting handed over. For reminding, this was genius. This is so simple. Sometimes it's just simple things that you need to do and right to make it work. Rutherford reminds Billups of, oh no, Tindy actually does it. She's like, that one time that Rutherford had a great plan to remove the hull at the end of season 1 to save the day. Could he get a promotion for doing that? And Billups goes, yeah, okay. It takes the pip and it gives
it right off, and he goes like this. Here you go.
I was like, Livick is pissed, but I'm like, really? It was that simple? You just had to ask for it? And he's like, well, yeah. If you don't ask, you don't get. I was like, yes. Gold.
Wait, now I have a prediction. I think Livick has something to do with that ship that's wiping out.
Oh, that's bold. I hope so. That's bold. That is bold.
I'm telling you, you and I should be writers. We got to do something about this.
A nasty ship piloted by a bit of an arsehole in Livick. Yeah, which he is. So the back on the menagerie, we still have a deorbiting space station, or whatever it's called. Deorbiting zoo. Zoo is the best way to describe it. But they managed to stabilise it. You get Moopsey back in his own area, his own little pen again. With the teeth getting, little breadcrumbs, get him back in there. And as Ransom's trying to talk without any teeth at this stage, which I found pretty amusing.
It was funny.
He's all
I didn't think all of them were going to get knocked out. He has like no teeth left. He's going.
This I didn't see this bit coming great. It turned out it was the human beings that were being held in the menagerie that actually rewired the Moopsey pen to let him out. Is it to do with profit? I wasn't fully getting that one.
I didn't fully get it either, but it was something you definitely didn't expect.
No, which
is fine, but they didn't really make a clear explanation of that.
I think it was just profit, wasn't it? Something to do with profit. I don't know if they got a cut of it or something. I just remembered hearing something to do with profit. So always bloody humans ruining it. At the end of the day. So Tiana sorts out Ransom's teeth. Easy for me to say.
Ransom,
and then she says she needs to now go off to the holodeck to kill the Sheriff of Nottingham for being a little F-faced shit or something along those lines. And that was there you go. You got your Dr. Cat moment there, mate. Yeah. The one line Grace says here, Tiana, Dr. Cat is still his favourite character. I have to agree, mate. She's just gold, isn't she? And I hope we see a lot more of her going forwards. Now, finishing off the episode, we've got Rutherford and Boimler. They're now sharing a place together after Rutherford's promotion. And this more gold. This was, I should really put this up to a higher score, actually, come to think of it. In fact, I will. They're sharing a place together right beside the warp nacelle. It's a bit bright when he goes in. Rutherford just casually turns down the brightness controls for think of a tinted window or something. He just goes up and he's like, all right, turns it down, and then a filter kicks in that cuts out all that light. And
everything's normal.
The look in Boimler's face, mate, he's like, it was that simple the whole bloody time. Rutherford's like, yeah. Brilliant. That is just brilliant, man.
That's why Rutherford has to hang out in that room, man. He knows all this stuff.
He knows this stuff. Genius. Oh, God, Boimler. So, technically, it isn't Lower Decks anymore, but it's like Lower Decks Plus. I don't know. I'm saying,
I can tell you, it's upper Lower Decks.
Upper Lower Decks. My God. See, this man, hire him, guys. He'll probably take the crap pay that you're giving the writers at the moment because it's a lot more than we're on. So, Gray and I have literally just on the fly changed our scores ever so slightly because that's what happens. Generally, what happens when you talk about it a lot. So, Gray, what did you give this out of 10 and why?
Yeah, so I gave it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a decent episode. There was some much more funnier moments than the last episode, which is what really saved it. I think it's a fair score. There was some confusing stuff going on, maybe another somewhat missed opportunity here and there again, but not enough to make it any lower than an 8. So overall, it was good, and there were some funny moments. So that's what helped.
Fair enough.
And Moopsey, of course, was
was
big
gold.
time star.
Moopsey was the real star of the episode. No, we both originally gave it 7 out of 5, but we literally just changed it on the fly there to, for me as well, 8 out of 10 as well. Very decent episode, a lot funner than the last time, like Gray said. I think it's a fair score. I don't think the main plot here was as good, like the main story, but I guess it doesn't need to be if it's it's a comedy. So as long as it's the comedy is good, that's fine. They just had so much potential in the last episode, then they ruined it. That could have easily been a 9 or 10 9 or 10 out of 10, but they didn't. So no, we're doing okay so far.
I think it was if it makes sense, it was more of a structured type Lower Decks episode that we're accustomed to, I guess you want to call it that. I mean, looking back, like you said, I mean, when they did the Deep Space Nine episode, everything about that episode was totally perfect. The humor, the people coming back, the look of it, the actors that came back, everything. And they really could have done that with the Voyager. They really could have.
So much
and it never happened. Yeah, and that's the bummer, because it could have been good.
I think we've only ever given one, tell me if I'm wrong, one episode of Lower Decks a 10 out of 10, Gray, so far, and it was that episode. Right. We've had 8 or 9s there, but never another 10. Which is a shame.
The DS, I would have given the DS9 episode a higher than a 10 if I could. It was that good.
You could have.
I mean, the whole thing, everything about it, the writing, the acting, the directing, the way they handled it, everything, the humor, everything across the board was perfect.
Yeah.
It really gave you the feeling that you, like I mentioned back when we did the review, as if you were watching a lost episode of Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Very good way of putting it, actually. So we're doing okay so far. Hopefully onwards and upwards, and this weird ship taking things out, there's actually a decent angle of it. But yeah, we'll wrap up there. Let's say we'll probably be back at the end of the week there with episode 3. Sorry, this was a bit later than usual, guys. We've just both been tied up. But yeah, until next week, Gray, do your thing, my man.
Live long and prosper, everybody.
See you later, guys. Bye.
Bye.